everything. Well, it's law of vibration, and everybody's vibrating at a different rate or a different frequency, and yeah, it's different strokes for different folks, or that, as they say, or I don't know if you have the expression. We say it here in Australia. We say horses for courses. I don't know. Natalia, have you heard that one? Horses for courses. Yeah. It comes from. It's a kind of interesting thing. It comes from the fact that in the different states of Australia, when they have horse racing, they go in different directions. Some go clockwise and some go anti-clockwise, and some horse will do really well in some state on a clockwise course, and when they go to another state on an anti-clockwise course, they place very poorly. So we have this expression, horses for courses. So
never heard of that kind of racing, and I've never heard that phrase. So thanks for filling us in on that.
Yeah, thank you for the explanation, because I mean, I've heard it many times, but I had no idea what it actually meant and where it came from. So yeah, thanks for that, Brent.
Yeah, that's what happens. I spent many years teaching languages, or teaching English mainly, but yeah, always got these little tidbits of sort of etymology and all these where things come from. They're not very useful, but it's always interesting to pull them out and sort of a bit entertaining sometimes.
Okay, guys, we are on Facebook Live. And my next next thing is to start recording. Okay, we're set to go. Brent, you're in charge. Entertain us, woo us, make us laugh, make us fly on some high-flying disc, whatever.
Okay, I'll do my best. Well, welcome to everybody who's watching and watching this later. It's always good to rendezvous with people, and I've got my hands full here with Philippa. She'll be coming in and out, I think. So yeah, as you might have seen on the advertisement that Karen put up, we'll be talking about law of attraction and the book by Michael J. Lozier, which is called Law of Attraction, the Science of Getting More of What You Want and Less of What You Don't, which is a bit of a mouthful for a book title, but it's a very interesting book, and it's a different take. It's a lot of it's based on Esther Hicks and Abraham Hicks and the law of attraction, but it's a different take on law of attraction work, and it's a little bit more practical in some ways, and it's a little bit more accessible, or at least I find it's more accessible. So he says that he's based his book on other writers. There's I'll drop a few names here. There's William Walter Atkinson, who wrote a book called Thought, Vibration, or the Law of Attraction in the Thought World. So it's all about changing your thought. There's Ernest Holmes, who wrote the book Basic Ideas of the Science of Mind, and a lot of people might be familiar with that. And Raymond Hollywell, who wrote a book called Working with the Law. So those books, if you get a chance, you might have a look at those as well. I mean, it's all, as I was just saying previously before we started recording, it's all, we're all going up the same mountain. It's all just different paths, different ways to get up the mountain. And of course, a lot of this book is based on the work by Jerry and Esther Hicks. So it's more of a practical how to do book. So that's one thing that appeals to me about it. And it tells you how you can access or how you can use the law of attraction for your own benefit, or how you can use it more deliberately. It's really about deliberate attraction. Of course, now Michael J. Lozier says that we are all using law of attraction. Yeah, here we are. She's attracting something. We're all using law of attraction. You know, you're thinking of somebody and suddenly they call. There's a phone call. No, you don't want to be on that side. Okay. You know, you're yeah, you know, you things come out of the blue, things fall into place. There's synchronicities, there's coincidence. You know, you say, oh well, that was meant to be. All those things are law of attraction working in your life, and you know, you might not even know it. So what the main thrust of this book is being able to use law of attraction in a more deliberate way, a more conscious way. So yeah, she's got something to say. Okay, so we, as I said, there's a lot of things that other books that he's based his work on. So there's a few quotes here. I'll just read a couple of quotes about law of attraction. And so obviously from Ask and It Is Given, Jerry and Esther Hicks's quote is, that which is like unto itself is drawn. This is, it's a bit old-fashioned. It's a bit sort of biblical in a way. Yeah, other people will just say like attracts like. It's contrary in a lot of ways to the you know, the old saying that opposites attract. This one is like attracts like. A quote from a woman called Catherine Ponder, who wrote a book called Dynamic Law of Prosperity. Her quote is, "What you radiate outward in your thoughts, feelings, mental pictures, and words, you attract into your life." So this is, I think, a very important thing in this law of attraction philosophy, is that it's our thoughts, our feelings, our mental pictures, and our words. These are really important, very, very powerful things in our lives. And a lot of people may overlook that. A lot of people are very based in the action world. And, you know, what am I doing? What action am I doing? And they sort of discount or discredit the role of thoughts and feelings and mental pictures and the words that we use. The next quote here is from Raymond Hollywell in his book, Working with the Law, the 11 Truth Principles for Successful Living. And so it's a bit of a long one, but he says, never expect a thing you do not want, and never desire a thing you do not expect. When you expect something you do not want, you attract the undesirable. And when you desire a thing that is not expected, you simply dissipate valuable mental force. On the other hand, when you constantly expect that which you persistently desire, your ability to attract becomes irresistible. The mind is a magnet and attracts whatever corresponds to its ruling state. Okay, that's what I said. It's a very long quote, but yeah, the point is that if you are thinking about, if you are using your imagination to expect something that you don't want, that you're not, that you don't desire, then you are actually attracting that thing. And if you're focusing on undesirable things, then that's what's going to come into your life. And if you desire if you desire something but you don't expect it, then you're wasting your mental energy, your valuable mental force. Brent, can you take Pippa, please? Okay, I'm just getting a little babysitter here. Okay. You take care of it, please. That'll work for about 2 minutes, 2 seconds. Here she back again. Brianna, come. Oh no, that didn't work. Yeah.
And Brent, I know you want to talk about the Michael Lozier book, but if she wants to release her energy, let her. She's still at that point of knowing where she came from. And that is very deep for me, I know, at this moment in time. But I had to get that out.
Yes. Well, that's exactly right. So she doesn't have any resistance. She's not, she doesn't have any social conditioning or anything there, any filters to stop her expression of her desire. That's okay. She could be she could spend some time with her sister. When she gets a bit distracted, it should be okay. But it's okay. Come on, give me here. Give me here. Come on.
She's too tired.
Not tired. Okay. She wants to be with me, so we'll put up with it for a little while. Okay, look, moving on. Ernest Holmes, in his book Basic Ideas of the Science of Mind, his quote is, "Every thought must manifest according to its intensity. The slightest thought of intelligence sets in motion a power in the law to produce a corresponding thing." Okay, so every thought is creative. It's okay. Every thought sets in motion the law of attraction. Now, what the key word here is intensity. It depends on how much you focus on this thought, how much intensity you bring to it, and often that's in terms of emotions. So, look, I'll just get a little bit off track. I don't know if you've heard of a writer called Rudolf Steiner, who he founded the Waldorf schools and biodynamic farming. He said that there are 3 stages of life. In the first 1 to 7 or 0 to 7 years, children are developing their will. In 7 to 14, they're developing their emotion. And from 14 to 21, they're developing their intellect. So she's in the willful stage. So she's if she's frustrated or thwarted, she's going to use her will to get what she wants. So come here. So it's a little bit of a oh yeah, a little bit of a struggle of wills here. She wants some attention. Okay, the next quote we got here is from a guy called Brian Tracy, who's not really an author, he's more of a motivational speaker. He says, "You are a living magnet. You attract into your life people, situations, and circumstances that are in harmony with your dominant thoughts. Whatever you dwell on in the conscious grows in your experience." So this is very much in line with the law of attraction teachings. Is we are magnets. We magnetize things. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay. So we attract into our lives people, situations, and circumstances that are in harmony with our dominant thoughts. Okay. Oh, come on. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. So, yeah, so what we dwell on, what we put into our consciousness is what grows in our experience. Now, here's Michael J. Lozier's definition of the law of attraction. And it's this one. Definition of the law of attraction: I attract into my life whatever I give my attention, energy, and focus to, whether positive or negative. Okay, so this one is a crucial distinction here. It's whether it's positive or negative. It doesn't matter. The law of attraction is not going to differentiate. It doesn't care if you want it or you don't want it, if it's desired or undesired. If you put your attention to it, if you give your attention to it, or your energy or your focus to it, then you will attract it into your life. Okay. So this, I think people understand this very intuitively, and since the 60s, people have been talking about vibe, good vibes, bad vibes. And so most people will understand that, you get when you're with a certain person or a certain situation, you say, oh, I get a good vibe from this, or you walk into a certain area of the city and say, oh, I get a bad vibe from this. And I think most people, even if they know law of attraction or not, they understand this. And it's most people now in our society, they'll understand that vibe basically means the mood or the feeling. Okay, so it's a way to describe what feeling you get from something. So in this sense, there are two vibrations. There are positive vibrations, and then there are negative vibrations. In this sense, it's the whole idea of vibration is that things go backwards and forwards between two opposites, two polarities. That's how vibration works. Okay. So, okay, I'm going to be quiet. Here you can see in the book, they're talking about positive, negative and positive. So vibrations or feelings or moods, we can have negative ones, disappointment, loneliness, lack, sadness, confusion, self, stress, anger, hurt. And on the positive side, there's joy, love, excitement, abundance, pride, comfort, confidence, and affection. I mean, that's just a short list. Almost every, if you look at the dictionary, almost every word for an emotion will either be in the positive or the negative. So emotions and feelings are basically our indicator, our guidance system, as Abraham Hicks says, for where we're at and what we're offering. Okay, so so every time you're feeling something, you respond to it, and your feeling causes you to emit or send out a negative or positive vibration. Okay. Now, look, I'll go to the next slide, I think. Okay. So this is the point, this next important point. The law of attraction responds to whatever vibration you are sending by giving you more of it, whether it's positive or negative. It simply responds to your vibration. So whatever you are emitting, whether it's consciously or unconsciously, the law of attraction is going to respond to that. So here's the next thing he's talking about. It's called non-deliberate attraction. So here he says, well, I'll read from here. Most people are often curious about why they keep attracting the same thing over and over. They are absolutely certain they are not sending out anything negative, yet in a specific area of their life, negative experiences keep showing up. This happens because they are sending out a negative vibe non-deliberately, simply through their observation of what they are currently getting. Now, Abraham Hicks is going to call this what isness. We are focused on what is. Just a second. Can you take that? No. It's a real crisis, it seems. So in this way, he gives an example. If somebody opens their wallet and they don't see any money, by observing what they're seeing, by seeing no money there, they start to offer a vibration of lack or of fear of, not being able to pay for something like that, or some other kind of negative vibration. So they're not doing that on purpose. They're not consciously saying, oh, I want to send out a vibration of lack. But law of attraction doesn't differentiate. Doesn't care. So it simply responds by giving more of the same. Okay, so it's a problem that if we create non-deliberately, we get caught in this cycle, and this is what Michael J. Lozier calls an observation cycle. So I'll just okay. So we've got it here. We've got the observation cycle, non-deliberate attraction. So number one, you observe what you receive and have in your life, whether positive or negative. Number two, while observing, you are sending a vibration, either positive or negative or positive. Number three, the law of attraction responds to the vibration you are sending. And number 4, as a result, you get more of what you were vibrating, whether positive or negative. And that goes around and around and around in a cycle. Okay, so it can be what they call, everyone knows the term, a vicious cycle, where you're going down and down and down, or it can be what's also known as a virtuous cycle, where you're going up and up and up. So if you're focusing on, if you are observing the positive aspects of your life, then you'll start to send out a positive vibration, and law of attraction will respond to the positive vibration, and you'll get more of that. So it'll go up and up and up, rather than down and down and down. So these are 2 cycles we've got. We've got the vicious cycle, which everyone knows, and we've got the virtuous cycle. So it's up to you which one you want. So even though you may not be aware of it, this cycle is happening in your life all the time. So you will respond to this. The law of attraction will respond to your vibration, whether positive or negative, whether you're aware of it or not aware of it. So the key is to become aware of what's going on, and then try to move into what's called the virtuous cycle. And the way you do that is, as Michael J. Lozier would say, is by deliberate attraction. So that's probably one of the key points of his book, is he's talking about deliberate attraction. So how do we do this? How do we break this cycle? What's the main thing we do? What's one of the most effective ways we do it? There are lots of techniques, but one of the first things here is that we've really got to understand the significance of words. Words, Abraham Hicks would say, words don't teach, experience teaches, and that's true. Words are only secondary things, but they're very, very important, because we are fixated, or we are focused on words and labeling things in our society today. So words are everywhere. We speak them, we read them, we write them, we think them, we see them, we type them, we hear them in our heads. And these words, as we do that, we start to generate a vibration. So it's really, really important, or it's really very, very helpful to choose very precise words, to choose words carefully. Now, in the book, it gives us an example. The word homework, for example, can cause some people to have a negative vibration and other people to have a positive vibration. The word money can hold a positive vibration for some people and a negative vibration for others. So, yeah, we've got to, what they're trying to say here is we have to be very careful about how we choose our words, or choosing words that are very specific, or that we are using deliberately. Okay, just so to illustrate the point here, the words we have, you lead to or make up our thoughts, and our thoughts lead to or make up our feelings. So words make up our thoughts, and our feelings are going to be either negative or positive vibrations. So if we use negative words or words with a negative or detrimental, criticizing feeling to them, if they're negative words or criticizing words, then our thoughts are going to be like that, and our feelings are going to be like that, and that's going to be a negative vibration. But if we use positive words, then we're going to start to generate positive thoughts, and we're going to start to generate positive feelings and positive vibrations. So although words are secondary in a lot of ways, you know, they don't really teach. They are very, very important for us in our situation, in our lives, in our society, because they are like the catalyst or the trigger for our thoughts, and that's a trigger for our feelings, and the feelings are basically the thoughts and feelings are the vibrations we emit, and what we're emitting is what comes back to us. So if we want to start to create consciously and deliberately, then we're going to have to start focusing on our words. Now, Michael J. Lozier talks about choosing words carefully, because sometimes we choose words quite unconsciously that attract what we don't want. So the words don't, not, and no can often, even though we think that we're going against what, you know, we're not attracting undesired things, we actually are. So he gives an example. If I said to you, don't think of the Statue of Liberty in New York, many people say, don't think of an elephant. And of course you just did. Even though I said, don't think of an elephant or don't think of the Statue of Liberty, you will think of the Statue of Liberty, because your unconscious and conscious minds, they automatically filter out the words don't, not, and no. Okay, so if somebody said, don't think of a snowstorm, you would start to think of a snowstorm. So we need to be careful. We need to choose deliberately. Here are some examples people use all the time that actually are kind of counterproductive. When we say, don't get mad, immediately somebody thinks of getting mad. Why shouldn't I get mad? You know, they get their hackles up. They get a bit riled up. Somebody says, I'm not blaming. Don't hesitate to call me. Don't be fooled. Don't worry. I don't want this to hurt. Don't litter. Don't smoke. I'm not judging. Don't panic. No worry. No rush. No worry. Don't look now. Don't run with scissors. Don't forget. I don't want my clients to cancel. Don't be late. Don't slam the door. All these things are really planting the seed for the action that you don't want. So how do we get over this? You know, what's an effective way of dealing with this? When you hear yourself saying something like, I don't want, or, you know, I'm not doing this, or no, you know, no, I don't, all these negatives, rather than saying what you don't want, ask yourself what you do want. Okay, so look, here's the next slide. It's clicking of buttons. When you make a statement containing the words don't, not, or no, you're actually giving attention and energy to what you don't want. Simply ask yourself, what do you want? So what do you want? You've got a negative statement. I'll just make this a bit bigger. Okay. So you've got a negative statement. I don't want this. I don't want to be poor. I don't want, you know, to be unhealthy or whatever. Ask yourself, what do you want, and change that into a positive statement. Okay, so this is a very effective tool for starting to break that vicious cycle and turn it into a virtuous cycle. So don't hesitate to call becomes call me soon. Don't panic becomes stay calm. Don't forget becomes remember to. Don't be late becomes see you on time. Don't slam the door, close it quietly. I don't want this to hurt. I'll be fine. I don't want my clients to cancel. I want my clients to keep their appointments. Okay? So whenever you find yourself using these negatives, using these don'ts and nots and no's, then you can change it to a positive just by saying, well, what do I want? What is it that I want?
I just want to interrupt for a second because I've given to a lift to friends at work and everything. And every time they've said to me, and this is me where I am, they've said, oh, sorry, I'm late. And I've turned around to them and said, don't say that, say thank you for waiting.
Yeah, yes. There's a lot of examples. I've seen that one before on, I think it's Byron Katie wrote that one or something. Yeah, there's a big list of ways we can change. So it seems like a subtle change. It seems like it's not, a great thing, but it is. Vibrationally, you're shifting. You're choosing a better thought, as Abraham Hicks will say. You're starting to move up the emotional guidance scale or whatever. You're shifting the energy. So the next quote here from the book is, when you go from what you don't want to what you do want, the words change. When the words change, the vibration changes. And you can only send out one vibration at a time. It's missing. So this is very fundamental. You can only send out one vibration at a time. You can only be vibrating positively or negatively. You can only be focusing on what you want or what you don't want. So the way to focus on what you do want is to change the words. When you find yourself getting into a negative, when you find yourself saying a negative word, if you find yourself saying something like, oh, I don't know, you change that to saying, oh, I'm going to find out. I'm going to get that information or something like that. And when you do that, you change the vibration. It often happens when people are saying things like, oh, I can't remember. Rather than saying I can't remember, they ought to say, oh, that'll come to me in a minute. And it will. So words, as I say, words, although they seem trivial and irrelevant, they are very, very powerful. The power that they have is that they can actually reset your vibration. Okay, so the way to do it, when you find contrast giving you this idea of what you don't want, reset your vibration by saying, what do you want? Now it's
Brent.
Yeah, yep.
I have a little bit of a comment. This is because I've found that over the years, just to play with this idea a little bit about what you just said.
Yep.
Is ask somebody, what kind of job do you want, or what kind of house would you like to live in, or what kind of relationship would you like to have? Often people, more often than not, actually, people will come back, will reply with, well, I don't ever want to have a guy that snores again. I don't ever want to have a person that, is like this or has these traits. People have a habit. It's a habit, the way people respond to the question, what kind of house do you want? Often people will say, well, I don't want one with a big yard that I have to mow. And I don't want one with whatever. I don't want one I don't want one that has snow or whatever. So it's a habit that a lot of people have, and it's fun to play with this and kind of just nudge them a little bit and play with them a little bit to kind of nudge them towards describing what it is that they want. They do want. So it's a fun thing to play with for me anyway. But people do it.
Yeah. I think that's very true.
A second, I'm just going to give Mark a big thumbs up on what he just said, because how often do you say to people, what do you want? And they automatically go to, what don't they want? Love it, love it, love it. Brilliant.
Yeah, and you can just raise your own vibration gently and nicely and easily by just, if you catch yourself answering somebody's question, or if you're just thinking to yourself, oh, what do I want to happen tomorrow? And be aware. Awareness is the key. You've said it a couple of times today, Brent, and in the book he's talking about being aware is listen to yourself, to listen to the answer that you have in your mind about what kind of day you want to have tomorrow. If it's, I want to have a sunny day, I want to do exercise, I want to, eat right or whatever. Or is it, well, I'm going to stay away from this person, or I hope I don't get any whatevers, or, and just gently listen to yourself and how you're doing, and just make a slight nudge to yourself about how you answer your own questions. It's pretty cool.
I'm going to interrupt for a second here, and this is an example. Within a dream, you say, oh, I don't want to end up going to that wedding reception because I may meet my ex. And then within the dream, you're at the wedding reception meeting your ex.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, that's very, very true. We can sometimes attract things. This is what I think the point of the book is, that we start to attract things unconsciously by focusing on these negatives. And I think Mark's point is very pertinent too, very relevant, is that you shouldn't beat yourself up about this. You should be gentle with yourself, because this is what this is what contrast is there for. It's there so we can look at these choices and say, oh, well, I choose this over that. If it wasn't there, then we wouldn't be able to choose. We wouldn't be able to create. And so it's all part of the process of creation. So we need to be gentle about these things, especially with ourselves. We're not. When you start making yourself wrong, you go into this make wrong mentality, then it becomes, that's when you start to get on that slippery slope into that downward vicious cycle. And so you got to just say, well, no, I'm going to focus on what I do want. And there's a quote from Abraham Hicks, which I will remember in a while. It will come to me in a while. Exactly, but it's saying that we're addicted to complaining. Basically, we're so infatuated with this complaining about things that we don't realize what we're doing. So rather than, somebody is rude to you, somebody cuts you off in traffic, or your boss is mean or whatever, rather than saying, oh, I hate it when people are rude, or lousy drivers make me so angry, or my boss really infuriates me. Say, well, this is what I do. I say to myself, I appreciate good manners. I appreciate courteous drivers. I appreciate positive relationships at work. And, even when people start talking to me with stories about, how somebody done me wrong, so many songs on the radio about that, he done me wrong, she done me wrong. And people will repeat that. People will, automatically go into this victim mentality, this victim mode. Oh, that happened to me. It was, out of my control, and all these people, oh, woe is me. When people start telling me those stories, I try to nudge, as we've mentioned before, you nudge things, you nudge them away. So people are talking about, oh, my boss was mean to me at work, or, they were yelling at me. And I said, well, I say to them, well, it's always nice to be in a workplace with good, positive relationships. Or, it's I really appreciate it when, people acknowledge your worth and things like that. I'm not saying you're wrong to focus on those negative things, but I'm just starting to nudge the conversation away from that negativity and more towards positivity. And people will move. Now, Abraham Hicks says it doesn't matter what the other person in the relationship is emitting, what vibration they're at. If you're in alignment, if you have awareness, and as Mark was saying before, if we've got awareness, then we can start to move it away, and that's when you start to dominate the vibration of the conversation, because they're creating non-deliberately, without awareness. And if you start to interact with awareness, with this idea of moving towards the positive, then they're going to have to come along, because they're not in control in a way. They're not choosing where they're going. They're just getting buffeted by the waves. They're just moving with the tide. And if you change the tide to something positive, then they'll come along. So let's got to click all these buttons. Let's have a look at the next slide. So this is a good one. To know whether you are sending out a positive or negative vibration, simply take a look at the results you're getting in that area of your life. They are a perfect reflection of what you are vibrating. So if you're having trouble with money, then if it's, you're worried about it, or it's not enough is coming, then that's the vibration. You've got something in there. You've got some vibration in your life that's saying money is a problem, or a lot of people in our society have got a big hang up about money is the root of all evil, and filthy lucre and things like that. And as I was saying before, on the radio, so many songs on the radio are, he done me wrong, she done me wrong, or it's all love is a heartbreak or something like that. And people take that on board subconsciously, and they start to, this cycle, as we're saying, cycle of non-deliberate creation. They observe what's there, they pick it up, they start emitting it, and law of attraction brings it back, and it goes around and around. So if you wanted to know where you're at with some aspect of your life, just see what the results are, because that's a perfect reflection of what you're offering. Now, the key, or the way to get out of this is what the book is saying is deliberate creation.
Brent.
Oh, is somebody question? Yeah, there's some point. Yeah.
Karen. Go ahead, Karen.
Just quickly, I just wondered if Michael J. Lozier, how you say it, if he sees emotions like Abraham Hicks, if he teaches that they are indicators from our inner being, which also tell us how we're vibrating, in addition to our circumstance, looking around us and saying, okay, what I'm getting is what I'm vibrating. But does he also term them, as our emotions, as the indicators that also tell us what we're going to get pretty soon if we keep on thinking and feeling like that? I was just wondering that.
Yeah. Okay. First off, I'd have to say I don't profess to be a Michael J. Lozier expert. I mean, I've read the book and taken on board what he's saying. He's very much in line with Abraham Hicks, and yeah, he would say that emotions are part of that what we're offering, that vibration that we're getting back. So that's very much the Abraham Hicks idea, that our current situation is a reflection of what we're offering, and that's how that's how we can tell where we are at. So it's the financial situation, the emotional situation, the relationship situation, work situation, all the situation, everything all together. Our current reality, the totality of it, is our indication of what we've been offering, what we've been sending out. So it's not just the physical circumstance, the situation we're in. Okay. Any other question about that before?
Yes, I do. I think I want to remind people of the Abraham. I mean, everybody has a different way of expressing things, and Michael Lozier obviously has an expresses his way because I've heard of him, so he must resonate and touch a lot of people with his words and the way he describes things. So that's a valuable thing. I just want to make sure that I would like to remind folks that are here what Abraham says is emotions are an earlier indicator than the manifestations. That's all. I mean, and Abraham says, yeah, if you want to know how you're vibrating, look around and see what look at your life. But earlier than that, you have the opportunity to realize how you're doing and is by how you're feeling. And your emotions and how you're feeling is an indicator of how in alignment with your inner being you are or not, or how in line, in agreement with how if you have a thought, if that thought comes to you as feeling not so good, then it is an indicator of how differently you're thinking about that subject than your inner being. And I'm going to guess, Michael Lozier, I don't know, I don't think I've ever read any of his books. If it has, it's been a long time. But I just want to make sure that that's a clear thing that Abraham says you can. It's kind of like a dream. Abraham describes dreams as ways to being able to figure out how you're vibrating and thinking before it's manifested, because that's what you think about how you feel in your dreams. And Abe says, well, you can pay attention to that, to how you feel, because you're getting an indication of how you're doing, whether you're in alignment or not with your inner beings. Does that make sense to everybody? Karen, is that kind of like, you were thinking about that question? I was having that same kind of, a comment or area described. So I knew that. That's why we get along so well. No, that's not it. But I can say to all the people that are here that's why we get along.
Law of attraction wise, I just want to get this in. You say you've got a car repair and you think, I don't want to spend more than £200, dollars. I know that with who's watching, there's different currencies, but you say, I don't want to spend more than £200, dollars on this repair. And the garage comes back and says, it's $210. You think, okay, $10 over what I wanted. I'm going to have the pleasure of paying them a bit more. That's a thing. And, I may be rabbiting, but when you pay out for something, have the pleasure of sharing your abundance. I'm going to shut up.
I definitely agree with that. Look, as Jonathan was saying, I think money is energy, as people sort of say, and if you give up more money, it's like giving up more energy. So you can celebrate the fact that you've got the energy, you've got this financial energy there to give, and when you do that, when you celebrate it, when you appreciate it, then that's when the universe says, okay, well, you want more of it. Here comes more of it. So I really like the quote. It's one of a quote from Neil Donald Walsh. He says, look, money only has value when it leaves your hand. So it just to grab a whole lot of money and sit on it is not going to make your life any better. You could have $1 million sitting in the bank and it might make you feel a little bit better, but if you don't spend it, if you don't use that energy, if you don't have that energy flowing, then yeah, it defeats the point of having it in a lot of ways. So yeah, when you celebrate that money going out, using that energy, then that's what life's for. That's what experience is for. And getting back to Mark's point, I've heard Abraham Hicks say it and other writers say it, is that in our physical reality, one of the benefits that helps us experience contrast, and one of the things that trips us up, is the fact that there's a delay. We're living in a linear time. We're living with past, present, future, and we do an action now, and it becomes the past, and we get a future result, and we're sort of like, wow, what happened there? Why did that thing happen to me? You start vibrating negatively, and you emit this energy or this signal, and after time it comes back to you. The law, the universe responds, and it's like, wow, it's out of the blue. Or it can be positive. You emit something positive, you have a feeling of joy or abundance, and you leave it, and then sometime later all this money drops in your lap, or you have this great relationship or something like that, and we are often confused. We don't see that there's this cause and this direct cause and effect relationship. Now I've heard people describe non-physical. I've heard Abraham Hicks describe the non-physical reality as one where beings don't indulge in negative thoughts because they learn very, very quickly. In fact, they learn immediately what the results are. They think a negative thought and a negative thing turns up immediately, because it's not this time delay, and it's this time delay. I mean, you might say, wow, why do we want to have a time delay? Why do we experience this? And well, that's the whole point of that, is that we can have contrast, that we can have this cause and have this effect, and not see the connection, and that we call that contrast. Whereas if it was just and a thought and an immediate effect, then we would see it straight away, and we would change our behavior very, very quickly. So getting back to to the book, here here's Michael J. Lozier's 3 steps to deliberate attraction. Okay, so we've talked about non-deliberate attraction. So we've got here the 3 steps. Step 1, he says, identify your desire. He says that sounds easy, right? Most people are not very good at knowing what they do want. However, they are very good at identifying what they don't want. In this step, you learn to know why what you don't like is helpful. Step 2 is giving your desire attention. The law of attraction will give you more of what you give your attention, energy, and focus to. This step will teach you how to do that, just that, simply by learning how to choose your words. We talked about that, and allowing it. Wondering why you're not manifesting your desires. The speed at which your desires come to you depends on how much you're allowing. So this is the most important step. So this comes back to the point I was just touching on, is that there's this delay, and it has to do with these steps of deliberate attraction. So we have trouble identifying our desire. We have trouble holding our attention on it, and we have trouble allowing it. Okay. Just a second, please. Girls,
I was just going to give a few moments whilst.
All right. My daughter has some friends over, so we've got 3 or 4 11-year-old girls running around the house. You can imagine what that's like. Okay, so as we've talked about before, when you step one, identify your desire. People, as it says, the challenge here is to know what we do want. Now we very, very often, and people, as we've said before, people indulge in this. They indulge in focusing on what they don't want. They indulge in, complaining and, getting shocked and titillated at negative news and things like that. But they find it kind of hard to say, well, what do you want? And so the process of contrast, this looking at what we don't want, you change it around, and rather than saying, oh, I don't want this, you change it around and say, well, what do I want? And so rather than spending time complaining or talking about it, you spend your time declaring what you do want, what you do like. So in that sense, contrast is very, very helpful. Physical contrast, emotional contrast, all those things. And so the example they give in the book is, if you look at your first boyfriend or girlfriend. Now, it says here, the chances are that you are no longer with that person. But from the relationship you had with that person, you would have a list of things that you don't like. You can think about a lot of your exes, and you'd probably be able to make a very, very big list of things you don't like. This is a contrast list. And from this list, you'll be able to build a clear picture of what you do want in a partner. Like as Mark was saying before, if you say you want a partner who doesn't snore, or if you say you don't like a partner who snores, then you'd probably say, oh, I like a nice, healthy partner who gets a restful sleep. Okay, so that becomes the positive, and that's when you start to focus on that, you start to attract that type of person. But if you say, I don't want a snoring partner, then you're probably going to attract a partner who snores again. So let me just, I have to keep clicking all these buttons. Here it is.
To be clear, I don't snore. No. At least Karen claims that anyway. I don't know. Go ahead.
Everybody says they don't snore.
I will take this. How many people say they don't snore until their partner tells them? You do, and you don't believe them. They set up an MP3 player to record your snoring and think, that was not me. That was not me. Fair enough. Nobody I've been with has gone that far. I've been told in different places, I snore, I don't snore. I've just took it, okay, that's it. That was just said in fun, okay?
Okay, so yeah, look, I'm sure we could do a whole session on snoring, sleep deprivation. So it's all that snoring and all that, it's all part of contrast. So here, this next slide is, observing contrast is essential because it helps you to become clearer about what you do want. Okay, so we've said this before. When you experience contrast in your life, then that's when you have the ability to start to experience clarity, awareness. Okay, so come on. So it says here, to help you observe contrast, to help you observe contrast briefly and say, so what do I want? Now here, it says here, how long is briefly? Now, the example they give in the book is, imagine you were driving in your car and your friend was with you, and they turned on the radio and put it onto a heavy metal station, some headbanger music or something that you don't like. You know, how long would you put up with that? How long would you put up with that contrast? Probably not very long. You'd say, this is my car. You know, I don't want to listen to that music. So you change the station pretty quickly.
Relevant if you love all music, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it depends. I mean, that's just an example. So here are some other examples they give. How long would you smell something that doesn't smell good? So how long would you listen to music that doesn't sound good? How long would you eat something that doesn't taste good? And I think the answer to all those questions would be not very long at all. If you put something in your mouth that it tastes absolutely foul or rotten or something, you'd spit it out pretty quickly. Now, when you think about this question of contrast in these terms, you'd have to consider some other areas of your life. Now, you'd have to consider relationships, career, health, money, all those. And unfortunately, people tend to experience contrast in these areas a bit longer than is necessary, a bit longer than is advisable. So the advice here is identify what feels good, and identify what makes you feel good and do more of it. So even in these areas, relationships, money, career, health, all these areas, if it makes you feel good, then move towards it, do more of it. Okay, so you don't have to, as we've said before, contrast is good. It gives us a field, it gives us a sort of range of things so we can choose. But you don't have to wallow in it. You don't have to get stuck in contrast. Observe it briefly and then choose the better feeling thought. So obviously, you know, we're very concerned or very selfish about what we eat, what we smell, what we wear, what we listen to, all those things. And so Abraham Hicks said, well, somebody came to them in the hot seat, I think, and said, well, Abraham, what you're teaching is selfishness. And they said, yes, it really, really is. We really teach selfishness. So to be selfish in the right way means to have self-care, to care for yourself. So you care about what you would eat, you care about what you smell, you care about what you wear, you care about what you listen to, and you respond very quickly. You observe it very, very briefly, and then you choose something better. Now, we unfortunately, in the areas of career, finance, health, relationships, those areas, we tend to wait too long or to take too long in contrast. So we really need to have more clarity. So in this book, they're talking about a clarity through contrast process. So when we have this contrast, we see what we don't want, and then we can see what we do want, and we can get clarity. And so clarity is the key. So clarity and awareness. Now, the book has a couple of case studies. So I'll just read through these. Actually, I can share. I'll read them, but we can share. I'll share along with you. So this first one about Janice, not her real name, obviously. So Janice, 34, is tired and frustrated because she continually has the wrong kind of guy showing interest in her. She complains that she attracts men who are unavailable, insincere, and who seldom make her a priority. Janice decides to use the law of attraction to attract her ideal relationship. She began the process of deliberate attraction with step 1, identify your desire, using the clarity through contrast worksheet. To take a look at Janice's worksheet on the next page. So in Janice's case, she was able to build a large list of contrasts by recalling a number of past relationships and what she didn't like, the contrast about those relationships. So here we have, so clarity through contrast worksheet. So Janice, my ideal relationship, here's the contrast and here's the clarity. So what do I want? So she was attracting men or partners who were controlling, poor listeners, not affectionate, who didn't care about what she thought or how she felt, were not outgoing, who didn't like travel, who always rushed her, who made decisions without her, and who didn't like movies or dancing. So that's just a short list. She actually had a longer list, 50 to 100 items. Now, the more contrast you have, the more clarity you can get. Okay. So how did she work this through? Clarity through contrast worksheet. So she found the contrast and asked herself, what do I want? So rather than controlling, she wanted someone who was flexible and well-balanced. Rather than a poor listener, she wanted someone who had great listening skills. Rather than someone who doesn't care what she thought or felt, she wanted someone who asked her how she was what she thought and how she was feeling. Okay, now look, I won't read all of those. It'll take a long time, but you can see how it goes from one side to the other side. Doesn't like traveling, enjoys social situations, short-term and long-term travel, likes adventure and exploring new places together. Okay, so this, as we've said before, this is a shift of words. When you can start to shift the words, then you can start to really get clarity about what you do want.
Okay. And in certain cases,
so, Janice,
I'm sorry to interrupt this, Brent, but I'm not going to kill it and everything. But you know, you make all this list of everything, and then one thing crops up that you didn't list, and it is something that is like, oh, I didn't think about. Example, must have good teeth.
Must have good tea or teeth?
Teeth.
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 Okay. Yeah. Well, that's part of health. So yeah. I suppose that there's lots of things. The list is almost endless, but this list is for everybody, so they all make their own personal lists. Look, I'll move on to the next one, because this is one that a lot of people think about. This one is Greg and money. So Greg, 27, is just barely making ends meet. He constantly complains about not having enough money. In fact, he says he's feeling stressed out about his financial situation. Greg is self-employed. Okay, the computer doesn't like that. We'll put that, there we go. Greg is a self-employed consultant and business advisor, and he's having a really hard time getting and keeping clients. He has decided to use law of attraction to attract his ideal financial situation. So let's have a look at his clarity through contrast worksheet. So just a second. Girls, can you go into another room, maybe? Oh, okay, sorry. The contrast, not enough money, always bills to pay, just making ends meet, can't afford anything I want. Money flow is sporadic. I never win anything. This is his list. Okay, he's made this about money, and again, he probably had a list of 50 to 100 items, but this is probably the top 10, or 10 that really mattered to him. Now, his contrast through clarity worksheet is not enough money becomes an abundance of money. Things I like. So he likes an abundance of money. He likes bills that are easily paid easily and quickly. Always have access to excess money. Okay, so you can see we're working down this list. So he's going from what he doesn't want to what he does want. Okay, so this is the whole process of clarity through contrast. So look, anybody who's listening, anybody who's here or whatever watches this later, if you want to, you can complete your own clarity through contrast worksheet. Do it in your own hand, in your own handwriting. It makes it more real for you, and it's more powerful. Okay, so yeah, this is step one. Okay, this is the first step. You see what you don't want, and you know what you do want, and knowing what you do want gives you clarity. And the more clarity you have, the more you can know what you don't want and know what you do want, then the better you can build this idea in your mind. You can really get a clear picture of what it is you want. And that's the problem in our society, I think, is that most people have spent too long in contrast. They've got a really, really clear picture of what they don't want. But when you ask them, well, what do you want? They're sort of at a loss. They don't know.
Karen has her hand up.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Gil is commenting on Facebook Live, and he asked a really good question. Is this worksheet process that you just described, is this similar to Abraham's focus wheel process? I don't know how, you're probably familiar with that, Brent. The focus wheel is something that they've shared for decades. And would you want to speak to that?
Yeah, sure. And again, I'd like to say, I'm not claiming to be an expert on Michael J. Lozier. I'm not claiming to be an expert on Abraham Hicks or anything, but from my perspective, they are very, very close. These two things, clarity through contrast worksheet and the focus wheel. The difference I would see is that the focus wheel is not focusing on contrast particularly. You can have a focus wheel that's on anything. You can just have a nice thought, or you can put in the center of that wheel something positive and then radiate off from that. That's my take on it. I mean, I know that in the center of the wheel there's often a negative thing, or a contrast, and then you build off these other thoughts. Look, there's another technique that you can use. It's called a mind map, or some people will call it a spider graph, and it's like a focus wheel where you have the central idea or the central topic or the central area of your life which you want to focus on, what you want to look at, and then you draw lines off in another little circle, then you draw lines off that circle in another little circle, and you can build it up that way. You can do listing. You can do grouping ahead with lists with subheadings and things like that. I think it really the main thing is you go through this process. It's this process of working it out. I often do it on a computer. You know, I suppose I get lazy with writing. My handwriting is like chicken scroll, like a spider walking across the page. So I often put it on lists on computers, on documents, and you know, folders and subheadings and whatever it is. I think as long as you're getting clarity for yourself, then yeah, that's sort of the main thrust of the whole exercise.
I have a suggestion, if I might, about if anybody wants to use that worksheet. I have a suggestion.
Yeah.
Keep track of, I mean, the sidebar of the list of the stuff that you don't want. I would recommend spending maybe about a second on that, maybe a minute on that side, and don't milk it. Just list it. Whatever comes, it's fine. It's contrast. It's there. It's whatever. Shouldn't take you much time, and it shouldn't take you much emotional energy on the what I don't want side. But every single thing that you list on this is the stuff that I do want, take your time. Milk it. Focus. I don't even do affirmations really, kind of like affirmations. They've never really done anything, but many years ago, I came up with an affirmation for myself. It's just mine. And it says, I'll focus on contrast only long enough to clarify what it is that I do want. And then I turn my full attention to that. And then I milk that. And I milk that. So I guess if you want to do this list, everybody's done lists in their life sometimes. I'm not much of a list person. I know about everybody else on the planet is. Just don't give as much energy, focus, attention to the what I don't want side. List them fine. It should be easy. Don't go searching and trying to relive emotions on that side. Just list whatever's there. And then on the right-hand side, every time you write what it is that you do want, milk it. Yeah, that feels good. Yeah, that sounds good. To me, that's the real power of that list. Just a suggestion.
Brilliant, Mark. I'll give thumbs up to that.
Thanks, John.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. And as they say in that book, look, how long would you spend eating something that doesn't taste good? Right. Not very long. If you stuck a piece of gum in your mouth and it tasted like rotten fish, I think you'd spit it out pretty quickly. And then you would look at the brand and say, "Wow, I'm not buying stinky cod chewing gum again," or whatever. You would use that contrast pretty quickly, and you say, "Wow, I like the spearmint flavor, or I like the peppermint taste. I really enjoy that." That's the whole idea, that you've got to have contrast. You can't move away from it.
Can I have one more thing, if I might, Brent? Because there's Gil Cotter is writing a couple of things on the Facebook Live. Gil says it's good on the computer because you can cut and paste and delete and move stuff around, etc. Mark Toms, give more attention to the positive side. So hands up for that. Even on the computer, delete the other side. Get rid of it altogether. So that's Gil's comments.
Yeah, that's great. Look, it's we live in a modern age. You may as well cut and paste. It's a digital contrast.
Sorry for interrupting. I'm not sorry for interrupting. It's point. I believe Lotus said she's going, so it's nice having you here. If I read this wrong on the blooming chat, shoot me. But nice to see you, Lotus.
Okay. Great. Well, look, let's move on if we can.
Go on. Let's move on.
Yeah. 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 I'm sure. I hope that everybody gets something out of it. And look, you can come back later. You can. It's going to be up on the Abraham Fund site as a recording, so you can come back and have a listen if you want to continue on. If people have to go, I understand. You know, I really appreciate people who come in and go out, and it's all good. So step 2 of this process is give attention, give your desire attention. So by giving attention to your desire, you increase the vibration of that desire. You give it more positive attention, more energy, more focus. As we've just been saying, we don't want to wallow. We don't want to get fixated on negatives, on the contrast. Of course, as Abraham Hicks says, you know, step 5 is you sort of enjoying the contrast, or you get to sort of the level of mastery where you're able to revel, I suppose, in a way, in the contrast, and you're able to say, well, it's great, we've got contrast. But yeah, we don't want to become fixated on that. We want to become fixated, or we want to give attention to our desire, because the law of attraction brings you more of whatever you give your energy, focus, and attention to. So the key is to identify your desire and then continue to give attention to that, to really, as Mark was saying, to milk it, to revel in it, to really say, wow, that's fantastic, that's great, because that's what sets your current vibration. Now, law of attraction doesn't care about what's happened in the past, doesn't care about what you were doing, 10 days ago, 10 minutes ago, 10 seconds ago. It depends on what your current vibration is now. Obviously, as we were saying before, we live in an existence, or we live in a reality where there is this time delay, where we give out some vibration. Law of attraction, the universe responds, and it comes back to us at a later time, and sometimes we can be surprised. But the law of attraction is only really responding to what your current vibration is. So when you make these lists, when you make this clarity through contrast list, when you make this focus wheel or whatever it is, then the idea is not to just make that list, put it in an envelope or put it in the drawer and forget about it. The idea is to look at it again and keep the clarity on that. So Michael J. Lozier, the book is talking about what they call what he calls a person's vibrational bubble. Okay, so he says it's more of an image than anything, but he says, imagine there's a bubble around you. Okay, and inside this bubble are all the vibrations that you are sending out. So some of those vibrations are going to be a little bit older, but whatever it is you're vibrating now is what you're including in the bubble. The bubble is going to be pushing out. So what the idea is to keep this bubble clean, or to keep it stocked with the vibration that you want. Okay, so keep looking at that list. Keep looking at the focus wheel, or whatever it is, and keep your desire. Keep your attention on your desire. Just a second, please.
While we have got a bit of a break because of what's going on with Brent, there was someone in the group who asked about focus wheels. Focus wheels are not a way of forcing a desire. they are a way to let yourself.
Sorry about that.
Sorry about Brent. I'll just finish this. Brent, I know it's your time, but I just want to say this. Focus wheels are not a way of like, you could be forcing what we call resistance. We all know how they work, a lot of us in the group. But, you may be a case of when you get that initial one in the middle, would this throw me off in the bushes? And you don't know how many things that will come to you that will throw you off in the bushes. Anybody who knows focus wheel will know what I mean. I am complete.
Yeah, yeah. So I think whatever the process is, as long as you're getting some benefit out of it, as long as you're getting clarity, because the key is clarity, the key is awareness, and the rest is kind of it's just trimmings. However you describe it, however you whatever terms you put it in, it's really it's just for show. It's really the process. It's the results that you get. And so the image here, I'll just see the image he's given us here is not a very good image, but anyway, he's got this idea of what he calls a vibrational bubble. It's a very basic drawing, but if you can imagine, this is just an image. Just as the contrast through clarity through contrast list is just a tool, focus wheel is just a tool. It's really what you're getting out of it. But if you imagine this image of a bubble around you, a vibrational bubble, then you can get an idea that what you're sending out, what you're emitting, what you're vibrating is going to be around you, and it's going to be, that's what you're going to be creating. So it's really important to keep it clear, or to keep clarity. So he talks about what are you including or excluding from your vibrational bubble. So when you talk about what you desire, when you notice something you like, when you daydream about a desire, when you visualize a desire, when you pretend you already have what you desire, say yes to something, say no to something, worry about something, complain about something, remember something positive, remember something negative, observe something positive, observe something negative, play with an idea of having my desire, make a collage, okay, or a focus wheel, or what's it called, a desire box or something. Pray about your desire, celebrate something, like all those things. There's not one of them that excludes anything. You can't, there is no, what is it, law, not law of, there's law of attraction, and there's not a law of assertion or law of repulsion. You don't repulse anything. You can't. As soon as you give your focus to, it's there. Okay. So what are you, ask yourself, what are you including in your vibrational bubble? Everything you focus on. And as Mark was saying, if you dwell upon the contrast, then that's going to be there. If you rehash something from the past, if you dig it up and go over it and think about it and wallow in victimhood or something, then that's going to be in your bubble. I mean, if it comes up, just say, well, thanks for the contrast, or thanks for the update, thanks for alerting me, and let it go, let it drop and move. If you're thinking about somebody treated you badly in the past, or you treated someone badly in the past, thanks for the update. What I like, what I love, what I appreciate is positive relationships between people. What I love is people who are polite or respectful, and that's what you'll start to include in your vibrational bubble. So it's just an image, but it's a very effective image in a lot of ways. And anything that you focus on, anything that you think about, is there in this vibrational bubble of yours. So when you look at something, you include it in your current vibration, and so this is getting back to the point that Mark was talking about affirmations, is that we've got to be very careful about affirmations, because affirmations can work, but as Abraham Hicks says, look, if you don't believe them, they're actually going to have a negative effect. So if somebody wants to lose weight, and they have this one here, and they have this affirmation saying, I have a happy, slender body, and they don't feel that they do, or they can't see that in the mirror, they can't see what's being reflected back to them, then that affirmation is actually going to be counterproductive. It's not going to help them. So some people will change the affirmation. If you say all my family relationships are harmonious, now if you can believe that, then yes, that's a good affirmation to have. But if you don't believe it, then it's going to be counterproductive. I love my body. If you can believe it, then it's great. If you don't believe it, then it's not good. I'm a millionaire. Again, if you believe it, great. If you don't believe it, then it's going to be counterproductive. My business is booming. I have ideal health. I have a perfect life, mate. All these things. If you can believe them, great. If you don't believe them, then they're going to be counterproductive. So, question, when would these affirmations offer a positive vibration? When they are true for you. So some people are going to say, that's not true. My family relationships aren't harmonious. I don't love my body. I'm not a millionaire yet. My business isn't booming. I don't have ideal health. I don't have a perfect life, mate. So the important thing here is law of attraction responds to how you feel about what you say and how you feel about what you think. So it's not the words as such, it's the feeling. So if you are saying something that you don't feel, then you're just giving lip service to it. So what's the answer? Rewording your affirmations to make them feel better. So here is the main thing. Feel better. When they feel better to you, then they are better for you. So it says here, always state your affirmations in the current tense. You've been taught that, but what he suggests is wording them as a process, the process of manifestation. So it actually starts when you think about your desire, talk about it, write about it, or when you give it any kind of attention, energy, or focus. So the truth is you are in the process. When you say, I'm in the process of, that sentence becomes true if it is true for you. It feels good, which is a positive vibration. So let's have a look here. I'm in the process of creating ideal family relationships. Now that can be true for anybody, if you believe it, if you're putting your energy into it. I'm in the process of enjoying my body more and more, in the process of becoming more abundant, in the process of growing my business, in the process of having ideal health, in the process of attracting an ideal mate. So when you can say, I'm in the process of, that changes the whole vibration. It changes the whole energy. It changes the whole intent. And that's when you start going from a vicious downward spiral, a vicious circle, to a virtuous circle, an upward spiral. Okay? So when these statements are true for you, when they feel good, you are sending a positive vibration, which law of attraction responds to by bringing you more of the same. Okay.
I'm going to interrupt you for a moment, Brent. And this is a case of appreciation. being the highest of all on the emotional scale. When you can say, I am in appreciation of attracting the perfect mate. I am in appreciation of attracting abundance to me. Two examples, you will be surprised how that can give such a big higher vibration. You know, I'm at this point, no matter what goes on around me, I say, I appreciate what that has brought to me. Call me a
Yes,
nutter. Call me a nutter. I just had to get that out.
Brent, I have to add something to that affirmation list, if you don't mind. Could I do that? You know, affirmations are try not to use affirmations to get into the vortex when you're out of the vortex. If you go through a list of those lists that Brent even had up there, if you're in the vortex, meaning you're seeing things and thinking things pretty close to the way your inner being sees things. If you're there and you say, I love my body, I have a beautiful life, you know, there's beauty everywhere, then you're not going to have to say, you can get away with that if you're in the vortex. Try that sometime. And if you're out of the vortex, you might need, if you say, okay, I've got some time, I'm going to play with some affirmations, and you happen to be kind of like out of the vortex, then you might use, I'm in the process of whatever it is, those kinds of things. So affirmations are pretty interesting. I've kind of studied affirmations. I don't use them a lot. I got a couple of them that I use all the time, like things always work out for me, very simple ones that I can just throw out there in a moment. But I don't use affirmations. I guess I do use affirmations to kind of get me more in the vortex. So it's a little reminders, nudges to get me in there. But there's affirmations sometimes, and I don't know if Michael Lozier says that in somewhere else in the book, but if you're feeling good and then you do affirmations, you can get, they are different than they are when you're out of the vortex. It's like Abe says on some of their, a couple of things, and they said they have these law of attraction cards. You know, have you all watched the video from Abe that says they have this law of attraction cards, and they put up a thing that says, oh, my life is wonderful and everything is beautiful, and then Abe says, no, that's not true. That's crazy, Doc. You know, that kind of stuff. That's how affirmations work. In the vortex, out of the vortex is a variable that you need to apply to when you're playing with affirmations. I guess that's the easiest way to sum that up. Does it make sense? And Lotus, before we go, Lotus, try to go unmute yourself, because I know you've been trying, but we can't hear you. It's very low volume. Try it. No, we're not hearing anything at all. It's just not, your volume is not coming through. We'll figure out that out some other time, I guess. We just.
Okay, I think that is,
I think there you go.
This is better, right?
Yes, that's it.
Is this better?
Now we can hear you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, good, because when I connect my voice, my sound system to the speaker, people can't hear me very well. So when I disconnect, it's okay for you, but I can't hear you very well.
Oh, okay.
It's very soft, but I try to put it up the highest.
So you've had some things to say before, and I just put.
Okay, maybe I can use my speaker here. Just a moment.
Brent,
Okay, now is it?
Comment on something. That's okay.
Okay, now
Action.
Yeah, go for it.
Oh, yeah, I was just saying about the focus wheel because I know about it in terms of just the name and a little tiny bit of it, but I don't remember a lot of details. So maybe some time we can talk about it, or if you have time, if it's short, because I'll be going off in maybe 15 minutes.
I'll leave it to you, Karen.
Thank you,
Karen.
Jonathan. Yeah, I had an experience today, which really was, I didn't literally write it out, but I think I could explain it to you just really quickly using this experience that I had today. So the way I do it, instead of the wheel, which can be kind of hard if you're writing, it's a little bit tricky to go around like that. A friend years ago said, how about we do a focus bridge? And so you just get a piece of paper, or you could do it on the computer, and you start where you are, at the bottom or the top. You put where you are emotionally, mainly, and then where do you want to be? You put that at the other end. And so then you find statements that you do believe, just like we've been talking, if it's just an affirmation, but you don't really believe it, then that's not valuable. But so I'll just give you this example of what happened to me today. So we have ducks out on the pond, a lot of ducks. They're wild ducks, and it's a pond that belongs to our community. I really love those ducks. They're really special to me, and I've given them names, and I enjoy seeing them, and I watch them out the window. They're just really special. Not everybody in the neighborhood cares for those ducks, and there have been talk of maybe doing away with them, taking them somewhere, even killing them, but euthanasia, whatever, something like that. But anyway, so the last 2 days, there's not been one single duck on the pond, and usually they're about 30, at least 30, and they're around in the yards, and I do adore them. But I'm also realized not everybody does, as I said. So 2 days without a single solitary duck, I decided that perhaps they had been done away with. The animal control officers maybe had come, because they will come if you complain, and they will take wildlife away and do something with it. And so I'd given it a day, and then today being the same, I just was feeling very sad because I thought, oh my gosh, I just felt bad. I felt like crying. I felt like they're gone. Because it's so rare. It's just so rare that there's not a few of them there. So but I knew that my feeling sad about it wasn't going to help me and wasn't going to help the ducks. Nobody was going to be helped by that. So I just thought, what thought can I think that will take me up a step from that? And I thought, I'm out doing yard work and trying to calm myself. And I thought, well, I've really enjoyed those ducks now for years. I've really had a lot of fun with those ducks. And that was true. That was a statement that did make me feel better. And I appreciated the time that I'd had with the ducks. And then I thought, really a suburban neighborhood isn't the really best place for a lot of wild animals. I'll have to admit that. That felt a little better. I didn't feel angry at the neighbors then so much, because I realized it's not the best. And then I thought, and they get kind of in the way of things. They get in the street, they go and do their business in people's yards, and people don't like that. And I thought, that's true. It's just not that good for them here. And so I just kept going up a little bit better. I was feeling a little bit better. And what else? And then I start to sink again. And then, now what else can I think? And then I thought, I just love how Abraham says that everything's always working out for me. And I said, I believe that's true with those ducks too. And I believe that I'm just going to choose well-being. I'm going to believe that they are in a place of well-being. And if they've gone into non-physical, hey, who can argue? But that's a great place to be. I thought about Abraham, and I just knew that wherever they were okay. And so I just kept thinking thoughts like that, bringing myself up, 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 up to a point I wanted to feel okay with it. I wasn't going to feel delighted about it, but I wanted to go from sad and sort of betrayed feeling to feeling okay. And I did that. I absolutely brought myself up step by step by step. And that's the essence of a focus wheel. And so I just kind of turned loose of it, stopped thinking about it, although I did tell Mark about it. And I did keep glancing out the window, nothing. And then I thought, well, we've got a new Facebook group for our neighborhood. And I thought, I'm just going to ask them if anybody knows what happened to the ducks. And I thought, I'm ready for whatever it is going to be said, because I do understand this isn't the best place for them. And if I really wanted to have a lot of ducks, I wouldn't really need to live out in the country. And maybe that would be a nice place for us, me and Mark. I guess not, maybe. But anyway, I was okay. I put this question on the Facebook group, and 2 people immediately responded and said, hey, there's a bunch of them in my yard. Hey, I just saw a whole bunch of them yesterday. They're around here.
I'm just going to interrupt for a second, Karen. Daisy is fine wherever she is.
Yes, Daisy is. You remembered dear Daisy Duck. She laid a whole bunch of eggs in our flower bed a couple of years ago. Daisy, exactly. And so so to me, that's the essence. It's going from an emotional state that feels painful to an emotional state that feels better. Or you could go from, say, you can also make that a reality state, say, going from a place of maybe, if you wanted to say, having very little money, I want to go to a place of having more money. And then you take that emotional journey. But it's usually probably better to do it with your emotions, because then you immediately know if you've moved up that vibrational scale. So that, in essence, is what a focus wheel is: finding step by step by step by step, finding a better feeling thought and feeling better as a result. And as a result, too, you're going to get a different experience. As I did today, I didn't necessarily expect that to happen, but I knew as I changed my vibration, that would certainly be possible. So
you can always tell when a writer is telling a story, because all of us are sitting here wondering, are there ducks? What happened to the ducks? Did you see any ducks today?
Yes, then Mark and I took a walk later with our cat in the little stroller, and I was looking, and I saw a bunch of them in somebody's yard, and saw some others. So yeah, they're still here.
We found the ducks. They were right in our backyard. By the way, my background is a picture of our backyard. They were right over there.
I am so looking forward to the day that my backyard swimming pool matches yours, Mark.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah. So I think,
so Brent, we have about 8 minutes left on the recording.
Yeah.
We'll leave the Facebook Live on until 10. Recording can go on about another 8 minutes, but the Facebook Live will stay on until 10. So it's up to you. You're in charge.
Yep. So I think that those are great stories to share. Thanks for that. I think one point that comes to me is that Abraham Hicks will say, look, get in alignment first and then take action. Okay. So whatever action you're going to take, whether you make an affirmation or something like, get in alignment, get in the vortex, or get in alignment with your inner being, and then you can take your action. Then you can start to have the proper perspective. And so, as Karen was touching on, you know, your inner being or non-physical doesn't have a negative view of what's going on. It's really all part of the process. Everything's working out. All is well, even when we, in our limited perspective, think no, it's not well. But it is working out. It is good. So really, it's all the process here we're talking about is how do we get our limited perspective, our limited view of the world to this more non-physical, in line with non-physical, in line with our inner being. Okay, so there are different ways of doing it. So I'll just come back to the book, and we were talking about rewording affirmations and talking about, well, you know, I'm in the process of doing something, rather than saying, you know, I have a slender, healthy, perfect body, rather than saying that, because it's not going to work if you don't believe it, if you don't have it. You say, well, I'm in the process of creating or enjoying my body, creating the perfect body. And then that's easier to accept from our limited perspective. We're not in that perspective of the inner being. And so the next thing the book is saying is that we can start to make what he calls a desire statement tool. A desire statement tool has three parts to it. And it's a way to raise your vibration, to move towards more deliberate attraction. So when you say something like, I want to own my own home, when you say that, then law of attraction is going to start to kick in. It's going to start to orchestrate circumstances and events to bring it to you. But unfortunately, most people are going to probably start to sabotage themselves with negative thoughts, with negative emotions, and move into an idea of lack. So what the book, what Michael J. Lozier is going to say is we need to start to move our attention, move our awareness. And there's three steps to this. I'll just click all the buttons here for a second. And we're talking about desire statements. So he says there's an opening sentence, there's the body, your clarity list from step one. So we looked at that, the step one clarity list, and the closing sentence. So the opening sentence here is saying, I'm in the process of attracting all that I need to do, know, or have to attract my ideal desire, to attract my ideal mate, or my ideal financial circumstances, or my ideal home, or whatever it is you desire. And then the body, you can use statements from your clarity list. So we talked about the clarity list before, where we looked at what we don't want, and we got what we do want. And we can say something like, I love knowing that my ideal partner, or whatever, I love how it feels when I've decided more and more, it excites me. I love the idea of, I'm excited at the thought of, I love seeing. So here are some examples. I love knowing that my ideal partner lives in my city. So if you want to attract your partner, ideal partner, then, you know, they're within reach. I love knowing that they're in reach. So I'm knowing that I know that. I love how it feels when I'm doing a bank deposit for my business. Okay, if you're growing your business, I'm excited at the thought of traveling with my ideal mate. So you don't have an ideal mate. You just know you're just activating the feeling. I love the idea of having a full client base. I love seeing myself making healthy food choices. So again, these are not affirmations that you're going to resist. They're actually statements that talk about your desire and where you're setting your point of attraction. And so he's talking about you're putting these into your vibrational bubble. And then you've got the closing statement, which is law of attraction is unfolding and orchestrating all that needs to happen to bring me my desire. Okay, so that's a kind of affirmation, but it's just an acknowledgement that law of attraction is working in my life, and it's working in your life whether you acknowledge it or not. So you may as well acknowledge that it's working, it's unfolding, and it's orchestrating all that needs to happen to bring me my desire. So if we look at this, just to work through an example very quickly before we finish, here was Janice. We saw she's looking for an ideal relationship, and she got this clarity of things she wants. She wants someone who's flexible, well balanced, great listening skills, and all those things she wants. So here's her desire statement. So it says here, I'm in the process of attracting all that I need to do, know, or have to attract my ideal relationship. And in her body, she says, I love how it feels knowing that my ideal relationship is with a man who is flexible and well balanced. He has great listening skills and enjoys conversations. I love how it feels knowing that my ideal partner is affectionate and sensitive and asks about my feelings. I love being asked to be included in decision-making opportunities. I love knowing that my ideal partner enjoys and looks forward to meeting my friends in social situations. My partner and I enjoy short-term and long-term travel together, experiencing trips. So you look, I'm not going to go through all of this, it takes a long time, but you can see what's happening here. And then the closing sentence, law of attraction is unfolding and orchestrating all that needs to happen to bring me my desire. Okay, so this is another tool, another way of doing it, but it comes back to what the book was saying early on, is words are important. They shape our view of the world. They shape the way we think. They shape how we set our thoughts and our feelings, and that basically sets our point of attraction. And if we can use those words consciously, with awareness, with clarity, then we can start to move our vibration. He calls it a vibrational bubble. We can start to fill our vibrational bubble with the energy or the thoughts or the desires that we want, rather than doing it haphazardly, non-deliberately. And when we're getting results that are haphazard and non-deliberate, we're getting things that are unexpected or undesired. We're wasting our energy. So this is a process. There are many processes out there, and this is one. This is as I said at the beginning, this is a very practical way of doing it. Look, I'll just share. I think we've got a little bit of time left, hopefully. The one about Greg and money, the financial situation. So he says, I'm in the process of attracting all that I need to do, know, or have to attract my ideal financial situation. I love knowing that my financial situation allows me to have and enjoy everything that I need and desire to bring more joy and freedom to my life. All these things, I'm not going to go through them all, but abundance is a feeling, and I love feeling abundance all around me. I'm so excited at the thought of a constant flow of money. I love knowing that my ideal financial situation brings me the comfort and the knowledge that I can travel where I want, shop where I want, and have whatever I want, have whatever will make me feel great. And then closing with the law of attraction is unfolding and orchestrating all that needs to happen to bring me my desire. So we can see here that words are very powerful, and words, with the way we use words, if we can start to use them deliberately and with consciousness, awareness, and clarity, then we can start to shift vibrational set point. And that's how we will a practical way, a very direct way of creating of using law of attraction to create what we want. Now there is a a third step. We definitely don't have a time to do it, but that's about allowing it. And that's a big step that a lot of people have trouble with. So look, we might have time to do it another day, and might have a chance to recap this and look at it again and move on from there. But I think basically everyone's got the foundation of this book, or it seems pretty clear. And I'm quite happy to come back and we'll recap this and look again.
I'm going to interrupt for a second. Sometimes it's just a case of allowing that it is already here. Julius
Yes.
may say more at another date, but that's all he is saying now.
Yes, that's right. So that's the one of the big stumbling blocks for most people to the process of allowing, because it's not here. I can't see it, so how can I allow it? How can you allow something that's not here? So yeah, we need to work on that one. And Lotus, you have a question or a comment?
Lotus,
I really like to
up.
get into the allowing part for next time. If there's a chance that we can do this, I will appreciate that.
Sure. Well,
Would that work?
yeah. Okay. Thanks, Natalia. Yeah, I'm sure Karen will put me down on the calendar again sometime.
I'll
Thank
put you
you.
down next week if you're available. I don't know about your schedule, Brent, but if you would be available for next week.
I'll have to check.
Yeah.
And see what my wife's work roster is. Look, it can be a little bit difficult, as we've seen with a little girl running around and demanding attention. So we'll see what happens.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
look, I don't want to. You don't want to have an overload of me talking, I'm sure.
Oh, no.
Very good today. I really enjoy it.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Me too.
I'm glad. I'm glad people have enjoyed that. Thank you.
Yeah.
I think
Really.
with unconditional love, Julius may want an outing there the 14th.
Sounds good, Jonathan and Julius.
Okay, Brent, I'm going to say, I guess everybody did express their appreciation for Brent. I was going to say, how about we all say, thank you very much, Brent, but it sounds like we just did before I turned off the recording. You can stay if you want. I just got to stop the recording.
Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening.
Always wonderful, Brent. I'm going to stop. Hold on.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And your granddaughter is so lovable.
Yeah. Well,
Yes.
I have enjoyed this interaction immensely, whatever the words are.
By the way, that's a daughter.
Daughter?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
A wonderful surprise daughter, right, Brent? Your daughter, Brent?
Wonderful.
Yeah. Philippa.
Philippa was a wonderful surprise.
Yeah,
okay.
It's all part of the process.
That's great. She's so cute.
Yeah, she is.
Oh, she is so
cute.
totally adorable.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And then her biggest sister started middle school this week. And how did Naomi is she liking it okay so far?
Well, she's 13 years old, so I asked, "Oh, did you have fun at school? How was it going?" And she said, "Oh, fine," and that was it.
Yep.
That's 13 years old.
For sure.
Yeah, I pick her up and say, "Everything. How was your school today?" She said, "Okay," and that's the end of it. So, Look, she seems okay. She seems happy, so I'm not going to give her the 3rd degree or anything like that. You know.
Right. That's wise. Yeah, that's very wise. I love the picture that you shared of her in front of her school. And that was just really a nice photo.
Yeah, well, it's the local school, so she's going there with her friends from primary school, or what you call elementary school. So there's continuity there. She's in a class with 2 or 3 of her friends from she was in year 7, now she's in year 8. I don't know if you use that over there in the States, you'd say years, or I don't know, or class.
No, we say grades. Grade 7, grade 8.
Yeah, we used to say grade, but we used to say grade 1 to 7 for what we call primary school or elementary school, and then we used to say year for the middle school and high school. But now they said, okay, we'll call everything year. So grade school. Oh, you say the same. You say grade school, don't you?
Yes, or elementary. We call it grade school or elementary school. Basically, at least what I hear. It probably varies from different parts of the country, actually, in the United States. But yeah, grade school, elementary school.
Yeah, we used to say grade school, and I used to say to my kids, "Oh, you're in grade 5 next year," and they say, "We don't say that anymore. We say year 5." Okay.
Oh,
So are you in England, Brent?
No, I'm in Australia.
there's
Australia?
only one Brit here, and that is me.
Sorry?
There's only one in England here, and that is me.
Jonathan is in England. And where are you, Lotus?
I'm in California, and I'm originally from Singapore, but I've lived in many parts of the world, in different countries. I have been in Australia for, I hitchhiked and backpack 30 years ago, and was all over the East Coast, and it changed my life completely, 100%. I turned into another person when I came home, and I never stopped traveling. At that point, I went to many different places and travel and work illegally, hitchhike, work in farms. Yeah, it's an incredible journey for me. And it started in Australia. I met so many people from all over the world, like me, backpacking around with very little money. Which part of Australia are you from, Brent?
I'm from Adelaide in South Australia. So it's
yeah,
You've been to Adelaide?
Yeah, I've been there.
A lot of people come from Asia and go backpacking or hitchhiking. They go fruit picking. There's a lot of work for fruit pickers.
I did that. Yeah, my farm career didn't last very long. It's hard work.
Yeah, it's hard work.
But I was in a sheep farm as well. A sheep farm is easier, but it smells bad.
Where is the farm?
It was 2 hours south of Sydney. Sterling Farm, I think it's called, Alan Sterling Farm or something. It was so long ago, and it's just an experience I've never ever had in my entire life at that point, and never experienced all these things. And I felt I was born again. I was literally feeling I was born again. I see so many things that I have never seen. And I taste so many food that I've never tasted and didn't even know their name, tortellini and all these things. I was in a very different world. And my parents are uneducated from China. They went to Singapore, and they were in a completely different world. I was educated in the with the British system. And they speak Chinese, so I have 2 languages or 3 languages in because we learn other kind of Chinese languages, and I haven't really understand their world as much because it's so completely different. And then I went into the Western world and it's so completely different. It's like I was really been to so many things. I was in India as well and Nepal, and it's completely different again. It's just amazing. It's amazing experience. It's so many stories.
Oh my goodness, you could write many books, I bet, about your travels. Yes, that's
If
fascinating.
anyone want to write my book, I'm happy to cooperate. And I'm not, I just not born a writer. Yeah,
You've got some stories, no doubt. Well, where are you in California? Are you in Southern California? In LA?
I'm in the north now. I just moved up here less than a year ago in Humboldt County. And it's a really beautiful place in a very remote place called Shelter Cove. Do you know this area or Northern California well?
I know of it because I used to live in Southern Oregon years ago, and I met quite a few folks from Northern California, and I just heard of the beauty of it and how people enjoyed that part of California so much, especially as the southern part was getting so crowded and busy, and then the northern part was just so special and lovely.
It is.
From.
Sorry. I can't hear who's talking.
Shutting up.
I'm going to say that Gil Cotter on Facebook Live says Ireland here. So Gil Cotter is from Ireland.
Oh,
Ireland.
Okay. Ireland.
Wow.
Jonathan's neighbor, I guess, right?
Yes.
To be sure, if I want to drop into this accent, I can do it at any time. I can drop into an Irish accent at any time. And I'm just doing this for fun.
Wow. How special to have an Irish person with us as well as the rest of you guys. And Lotus, who's traveled all over the world. Wow, that we're quite an international group.
Yeah, it is. It's nice to meet up. I'm so fascinated and awed by this whole internet thing and connection. I don't go on group very often, but this is really nice.
Well, I'm so glad you joined us tonight. And so we meet every Friday night. And Gil, yes, we are. Gil says we're multinational here. And every Friday night we do this. It's Friday night our time, but other folks it's a different time. But it's 7:30 Eastern time. We've been doing this for years, actually, for about 3 years. And so we just please always feel free to join us if you're inspired and if you're available.
Yeah, I would love to. I think I really enjoyed the energy today, and I really enjoy listening to all this, which is not totally new, but you need reminders, and I sort of know this thing, but I'm not using it, and I really should be using it, especially right now. I need some tool, and I guess it's coming to me now, and I need to really use them.
When I just heard the term need reminders, Lotus have the biggest hug from me in the universe.
Did you say the biggest hug?
Indeed.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Look, I think that it's good that lots of different people from lots of different places around the world tune in here and they join in and they contribute, because I think it's a great truth that if you only ever spend time with people who think the same as you, or who come from the same place as you, or have the same background as you, then you're not going to learn much. You're not going to grow very much. But when you have different perspectives, when you have different input from different sources, from different viewpoints, then you actually can grow a lot, because it opens your mind to all these different possibilities. And that's as I was saying at the beginning of this talk, that's why I like this book. It's a different take on the law of attraction. It's saying the similar things. It's things we need to be reminded of, perhaps, and things that we need to see from a different perspective.
Yes.
But it really helps us to have a new take on it, and to expand our awareness of it, and to gain greater understanding of what the whole picture is. And as we were talking about earlier, it's hard to see things from the perspective of our inner beings, or from non-physical, but we can start to expand our awareness, expand our clarity, expand our view of the world. And it wouldn't be happening if we didn't have all this multinational or multidisciplinary, multi personality perspective. Really, it adds to the whole flavor of things. And I think Lotus, coming from Singapore, you'd know that. I mean, I've been to Singapore a few times, and there's Chinese, there's Malay, there's Indian. There's a lot of Indian people there. There's the British influence, and it's all a bit of a melting pot.
It is.
Same with Australia. Australia, and you would have come here. Australia is a Western country, but it's after Israel, I think it's the second most ethnically diverse country, or multinational country in the world, either Australia or Canada. And USA is up there too. But there's a lot of people from different places. You can go anywhere in Australia, and probably, well, not anywhere, but you can find any nationality from anywhere in the world. You can Singaporean, Nepalese, Indian, Chinese, doesn't really matter.
It makes life so interesting.
It does.
Yes.
I agree.
It does. With Lotus, because of where she's from. I am a martial artist. So, whenever it comes to your area of the world, the Western world will always look at martial arts.
Look at what? Martial art?
Yes.
Well, I do Tai Chi. Tai Chi is a form of martial art. I teach Tai Chi. I used to.
Oh, wow.
Right now, classes are closed. I do Tai Chi, and I love it. And I used to teach yoga, but I like Tai Chi a lot more. So you're talking about martial art. That's a form of martial art. I mean, it stems from there. And I did martial art before, so just watch what you say.
Lotus will understand this.
Yes. Yes, I do. If you go to my page, you might be able to see some of my Tai Chi fan series. I'm not sure, but I have a page that is called Yin Yang Tai Chi, and I have some Tai Chi series there.
I will say this, Lotus. My main art, but I'm not anal, is Shotokan karate, but I look at all arts.
Okay, I'm sorry, you need to say that again. It's hard for me to hear, and also I'm trying to get used to your accents.
Somebody getting used to my accent, that's new.
Try to put my ear.
Shotokan karate, but I look at all arts.
Okay, I'm sorry, you need to say that again. It's hard for me to hear, and also I'm trying to get used to your accents.
Somebody getting used to my accent, that's new. My main art
Your main art?
is Shotokan karate.
Oh, karate?
Shotokan karate.
Shokan. Shokan karate. I used to do jujitsu.
Oh, bloody big hug. But
Yeah.
as I said, my main art, Shotokan karate.
Okay.
I embrace all martial arts.
Okay, so it's like jujitsu.
Perhaps.
Okay, guys,
Okay,
we're
off to
having
go.
fun. But
Bye-bye.
Okay.
Have to go.
Yeah.
it's,
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you.
try to end this at 10
Thank you.
o'clock, and it's about
evening.
that time here on the East Coast. So
Thank you, everybody, so
that was a lot of
much.
fun.
Thank you. Yeah, I look forward to seeing you guys again. Have a great evening.
You too,
Good job,
Lotus.
Lotus. Great job, Lotus, figuring out how to, one, get the camera going, and two, getting the microphone going and speakers and all that other stuff. I know
Yeah.
It's
you
on
made
my
it all
phone,
the way
but
from,
I'm still wanting to do my computer next time. I don't know why. I tried again and again, it didn't work, but this is my phone. So next time I try my tablet, see whether it works. Usually it works, but my new computer just won't work.
yeah, do
But
you have
all's
an iPad?
good. I'm enjoying it and I'm here.
Yeah. Good. Yeah, I use an iPad
Hey.
for one of my things. So iPad works really nicely if you have an iPad. I know that a tablet, iPad, or anything
Yeah,
like that is
I
good.
have done a Zoom on my tablet before and it works. The only thing that is not working, I have more than one computer actually. My old computer works, but my new computer, that's the only
Yeah.
one that wouldn't work on Zoom. So I need to find out why. But I
Okay.
have no complaint. I have a lot of gadgets to switch
Yeah.
around.
You'll figure it out for sure.
Yeah,
All right,
I
guys.
would.
This is
Okay,
fun.
take
Thank
care.
you so much for
Bye-bye.
coming, and we'll see you in about a
Bye,
week from now.
Lotus. Yeah.
Good night.
Good
Hope to see
night.
you back here.
Sure.
Good